Have you ever wondered what really goes on during a tarot reading? I mean, beyond the crystal balls and all that mysterious reputation, there's a pretty fascinating process at play. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain. Using a story called Otherside, we are going to deconstruct a reading, step by step. We'll explore not just the ritual, but the powerful psychology behind it all. You know, everything starts with the atmosphere, the vibe. Our reader, Lucretia Eddy, or Lucy as she's called, is all about making her space, the Otherside tarot card parlor, a total sanctuary. See, this isn't just about shuffling some cards. It's about creating an environment where someone can feel safe enough to really explore some personal stuff. Okay, so let's step into the other side. In this first part, we're going to meet the key players in our story and see exactly how those first few moments of a reading really set the stage for everything that's about to happen. So we've got three main figures in our scene here. First, there's Lucy, the reader. She has decades of experience and truly believes she's a channel for some kind of spiritual source. Then our inquirer is Gloria. She comes in with an open mind, for sure, but also a healthy dose of skepticism. She wants to understand the logic. Oh, and we can't forget Casey, the perceptive black cat named after a famous seer, who seems to play his own kind of unique role in the parlor. All right, let's get into the ritual itself. A tarot reading isn't just about, yanking some random cards out of a deck. There's a whole specific process involved, a method that's really designed to connect the person's own energy and intention to the cards. The whole thing starts with a really clear framework. Gloria doesn't just ask some vague question. She specifically requests a 3-card reading, and she wants it focused on her situation, the obstacle she's facing, and the advice the cards might offer. This structure gives the reading a clear narrative arc right from the get-go. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The selection method Lucy calls the fishbowl. As you can see, it starts with Gloria just focusing her intent. Then the cards get shuffled and scattered into a loose pile. But the final step? That's the crucial part. Gloria is told to let her hand fish for 3 cards, to just bypass her analytical mind and trust her intuition. It's all about getting out of your own head. And now we get to the heart of the reading. The cards have been chosen, so let's see what story they have to tell about Gloria's situation, her obstacle, and the advice she's looking for. The very first card representing Gloria's current situation is the Star. And right away, this is a huge deal. It's a major arcana card. Now, you got to think of these as like the heavyweight cards of the deck. They don't deal with daily ups and downs. They're about major life themes, spiritual lessons, big karmic forces. Pulling one here suggests her situation isn't trivial. It's a really significant chapter in her life story. So, what does the Star signify? Well, it's overwhelmingly positive. It's a card of hope, healing, and spiritual insight. Lucy interprets this to mean that Gloria is on the right path, but it also kind of hints at a period of prolonged healing from a pretty significant long-term challenge. So, it sets a complex but very hopeful stage. Next up for the obstacle, we have the 5 of Pentacles. Now, unlike the Star, this is a minor arcana card. These tend to reflect the more practical day-to-day stuff. And this card, well, it points right to the core of Gloria's conflict. And wow, this card is a heavy one. It speaks of struggle, hardship, isolation. It's a card of scarcity, a feeling left out in the cold. Lucy's interpretation is pretty direct. This card strongly suggests that the obstacle can't be overcome alone, and that seeking help is absolutely necessary. Finally, we have the advice card, the one that's meant to show the way forward. The card Gloria draws is the 2 of Swords, another minor arcana card that's connected to the intellect and communication. What's really crucial here is that the advice isn't some simple action item. The 2 of Swords represents a stalemate, a double-edged blade. It suggests being defensive, being stuck in your own head, and just paralyzed by indecision. The core advice isn't to do something, but to first recognize this state of internal conflict. But the reading, it feels incomplete, We've got a hopeful situation, a really difficult obstacle, and advice that just points to a mental roadblock. Lucy senses this, and she suggests drawing one more card, a clarifier, to bring the whole thing to a conclusion. And this is a super high-stakes moment. Lucy puts the decision entirely in Gloria's hands. The choice to seek more clarity has to be hers, and it has to be made right then and there. And Gloria, caught up in the story of the cards, she immediately says yes. So, Lucy takes the top card from the deck. The card that will clarify everything is
The Wheel of Fortune. And honestly, this changes everything.
The Wheel of Fortune signals a huge shift in the reading. It's another powerful major arcana card, representing destiny, luck, and massive unplanned changes. As a clarifier, it's an incredibly positive sign. It's basically suggesting that despite all of Gloria's struggles, powerful forces of change and good fortune are now at play. So the reading itself is over, but this is where the story gets really interesting. The cards are on the table, the narrative's been told, and now Gloria and Lucy get to the core question that's underneath it all. What just happened here? I mean, how does this actually work? And two really distinct ideas emerge. On one hand, you have Lucy's perspective, that there are divine, supernatural forces guiding the cards to reveal some deeper truth. And on the other hand, there's Gloria's more psychological take, that the cards are basically a mirror, a tool for self-reflection. Gloria really articulates this perfectly. She suggests that whether the premise of divine guidance is valid or not, it's almost beside the point. The process itself motivates you to look at your life, to examine your problems, and consider new perspectives, and that has value all on its own. And what's wild is that Lucy agrees, adding this really powerful insight. She says the process can work like a placebo effect. Just the belief that the cards are providing guidance can be the very thing that empowers someone to make a change in their life. The belief itself becomes the agent of change. So ultimately, despite the whole philosophical debate, the experience was deeply valuable for Gloria. She pays for the reading and even leaves a generous tip for a job well done, feeling like a huge burden has been lifted. For her, the reading worked. And this really brings us to our final provocative question. This reading at the other side is a perfect case study for something much bigger. When we seek guidance, whether it's from cards, from therapy, from anywhere, are we discovering a truth that's already out there, or are we the ones creating the meaning we need to find? That's a question worth thinking about.